Joining me now, we have New Hampshire Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander. She serves on the House Armed Services and Small Business Committees, and we welcome you back to the broadcast. So, Congresswoman, you have Democrats who are demanding just basic law enforcement conditions to fund DHS. No masked agents, judicial warrants, higher training standards, real oversight they want. And polls show majorities of Americans now see ICE as out of control and also want reform. Will Democrats refuse to fund DHS until there are enforceable guardrails on federal immigration officers?
Alex, thanks so much for having me. And the answer to that is yes. What we are asking for is entirely reasonable, and it is consistent with what the vast majority of Americans want to see. Guardrails that are going to ensure that ICE operates with the kind of professionalism, the kind of transparency, and with the kind of accountability that I see in my local law enforcement all across the state of New Hampshire and across the country. Right now, DHS, ICE, and CBP, they're making America less safe. And I have no higher priority than to keep our communities safe. And that is what we are pressing for, reasonable guardrails that will achieve just that.
How do Republicans justify ICE agents wearing masks when you have police, you got sheriff, you got state law enforcement across this country who don't? I mean, what is the difference if any and all law enforcement work can bring retribution?
I have not yet heard a good answer to this. Look, what we've put forward are truly reasonable and proven methods that we see in our local law enforcement all across this country and that have worked. Public safety depends on public trust, and public trust becomes impossible when you don't have the kind of professionalism, transparency, and accountability that the American people deserve and that the American people need in order to keep our communities safe. And so when we're living in a moment in which masked agents are shooting American citizens dead in broad daylight, we have a huge problem that we can and must fix.
Yeah. Republicans are accusing Democrats of defunding border security, and some see President Trump's State of the Union address in about 2 weeks as an opportunity to further pin the blame for the partial shutdown on Democrats. So are Democrats prepared to withstand the political pressure and see this fight to rein ICE in all the way through? Are Democrats confident they have the support of most Americans after all the chaos and destruction and that which you're describing on our streets?
Look, my resolve in pressing for what my constituents need and deserve is boundless. And I will do what it takes to fight for what I believe is right, for what is required to keep our communities safe and to enforce the law. The vast majority of Americans, the people who I work for, want to see our laws enforced. They want to see them enforced with professionalism, with fairness, with humanity, the hallmarks that have always defined the best of American law enforcement. And that is what I'm pressing for. And my resolve in that is boundless.
Okay. So this week, a federal grand jury took the rare step of rejecting criminal indictments for you and 5 other Democratic lawmakers over that video that you made urging military personnel to disobey carrying out illegal orders. Now, you'd have to go back to 1798 to find the one time a member of Congress was prosecuted and jailed for exercising his constitutional right, essentially, to free speech. House Speaker Mike Johnson said what you did is probably a crime and charges are warranted. What do you say to that? I mean, what is behind this attempt to indict you and your colleagues?
Alex, this is an effort. The aim here is, I think, unfortunately very clear. It's an effort to intimidate us, to silence us, to distract us, and to harass us. And it will not work because what we have said and done is to say what the law says at a moment in this country when we need moral clarity and legal clarity like never before. And we will continue to say what is true and what is right. And frankly, the fact that, according to press reports, 23 fellow Americans, a grand jury impaneled by this administration to pursue a completely lawless attack on us proves the point that it's an extraordinary thing for a grand jury of 23 fellow Americans to resoundingly reject this. But what I want to say is, our system is being tested in ways that we've never seen before, because this is just not how our resources should be used. Taxpayer dollars should not be used to persecute members of Congress for doing their jobs and for exercising their constitutional rights and responsibilities. We should be using taxpayer dollars to actually keep our communities safe and do what the Justice Department is designed to do. And that's just not what we're seeing under this administration, and it's an outrage.
Is it over, or do you have concerns that the administration will try to pursue charges again in a different court, perhaps a friendlier court historically to this administration?
I am concerned that because this administration is not bounded by the law, the president said that the biggest check on him is his own morality. Here, our system wasn't designed for an army of vindictive prosecutors in the Justice Department. There's no limit on the number of times they could press this case. And the standard, Alex, is so low. This is why it's been said that a grand jury could indict a ham sandwich. The standard is low. This is a forum that was designed to create an unlevel playing field that completely weighs in favor of the government. And so the standard is very low, and I think they're very motivated. But what they need to know, and I think what they have heard from the people themselves, is that this is an outrage, and they absolutely should not be wasting taxpayer dollars and our time on this outrageous persecution.
Well, apparently you don't register as a ham sandwich, because that federal jury was unable to put an indictment against you. There was not one who voted to indict you on that grand jury. Maggie Goodlander, it's good to see you. We'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much, Congresswoman.